Alright, this video is going to talk about dimensions, and we are going to use one of the parts from our beginner challenge problem to go through it. We went through this a little bit in class, but I'm going to go from top to bottom so that you can see how dimensions work. So we're going to start off by making a part here. We're going to build this entire box, not any detail that you see here or anything that's cut out. We're going to build a box that is 7 inches wide by 5 inches tall by 5 inches deep. So in order to do that, we're going to make a rectangle that is 7 by 5 to start. And we're going to start with our sketch in the front view since that's where our part drawing is. So start with our rectangle. We'll click here at the origin and start to build out from there. It is 7 inches wide, so we type in 7, hit our tab key to switch over, and it is 5 inches tall. Bigger than our screen right now, so we'll hit enter and we'll zoom out a little bit so that we can see it. Alright, so there's our front view of our box, and that is one way to add dimensions. It's to type in those numbers, not just drag to a certain point, but actually type them in. That locks in those dimensions, and as you can see, the 4 sides of this rectangle are currently black, which shows that they are locked in. They have some level of constraint to them. We're going to finish the sketch and extrude from here. Now this is supposed to be 5 inches in depth as well, so we're going to just type in a 5 and hit enter, and there we go. Now this is a box of reasonable size, but we're going to start dimensioning off the pieces that we are going to cut. So this notch that we see in our front view, that is what we're going to remove. Now, if the overall height is 5 inches, and this is 2 inches, then we are going to cut out a rectangle that is 3 inches tall. If the overall width is 7, and the width of the upright here is 2, we're going to cut out a rectangle that is 5 inches wide. So 5 inches wide, 3 inches tall. I'm going to go back to our drawing. Start from this corner, create a new sketch. We're going to draw right on this side of the box. Now we're going to start in the upper right corner and click. You'll see our cursor snap into place and start to move away from there. Now we're going to go 5 inches wide, so that's the first number we type in. Hit our tab key, and 3 inches tall, and hit enter. That gives us our rectangle, and again you can see the dimensions that are laid out here. If we were to just drag our rectangle out, we would not see those same dimensions listed. Finish our sketch. We're going to knock out this material. We'll go to extrude and go here, and we're going to remove it. Now, those dimensions are specific. That means that the other dimensions that we have here, this is going to be 2 inches, and this is going to be 2 inches down on this edge. I'm not sure why my cursor stopped working there. But we can continue to use the information in the drawing to add more detail. Let's go to this upright here. This has a notch cut out of it. So what we should do is we should figure out what those dimensions are. It has a rectangle cutout that is 4 inches up from the bottom. That is 1 inch in from the left side, and 4 inches into the right side of the rectangle. So these 3 dimensions here, this 4, this 1, and this 4, we're going to use to place that notch where it needs to go. So I'm going to do a drawing on this part of the upright. Create a sketch, and I'm going to grab my rectangle tool and just start to draw a rectangle. It's not going to be correct. We just need one in place. Notice that the sides are still blue. That means there's still some flexibility about what happens with it. We're going to switch to our dimension tool. Okay. And the first dimension we're going to do is from this left side to the left side of our rectangle is supposed to be 1 inch. So we're going to click once on the left side and click once on our rectangle and bring that dimension up. Currently it is not an inch. It looks like it's almost 3/4. We're just going to type in the number 1 and hit enter. Now that shifts the rectangle over to its new location, and we can continue adding dimensions. Also from the left side to the right side, from the left side of the object to the right side of the rectangle, is 4 inches. And that's what we're going to grab next. So from the left side of the object to the right side of the rectangle is 4 inches. It's actually pretty close, but not quite. So we're going to be precise by typing in the number 4 and hitting enter. And you can see the rectangle just slightly snap into place, and 3 of the sides are now locked down. The last thing we need is the distance from the bottom of the shape to the bottom of our rectangle. If we look in our part drawing, that distance is 4 inches. So we'll go back with our dimension tool, start at the bottom of the shape, go up to the bottom of the rectangle, and bring that outside, place our dimension. Now we need to type a number 4 and hit enter. So there we go, our notch is placed in the right location, and all we have to do now is just extrude that out. So we'll finish our sketch, hit extrude, click on the rectangle, and cut that material out. Click OK. So that is not just any notch. That is a notch that is precisely built to the specifications that we see in the drawing. So one last thing. We've got this bottom notch here. There is a rectangular cutout that is 2 inches from the bottom for the bottom part, 3 inches from the bottom to the top part of the rectangle, and 4 inches from the left side once we build this rectangle. So let's do that. We're going to put a drawing right here on this face. So we right click and go to create sketch. And I'm going to start a rectangle on this edge somewhere. Again, accuracy is not necessary right now. We just want to get a rectangle in there. So now our rectangle is in. We're going to switch over to dimension tool. From the left side of the object to the left side of our rectangle is supposed to be 4 inches. It's actually pretty close right now, but we're going to type in a number 4 so that we can be precise. Now let's check our other 2 dimensions. It is 2 inches from the bottom of our object to the bottom of the rectangle. That's this distance here. So we're going to go from the bottom of the object to the bottom of the rectangle and move out, and that's supposed to be 2 inches. So we'll type in a 2 and hit enter, and that snaps into place. And now we have a distance from the bottom of the object to the top of our rectangular cutout. That should be 3 inches. So we start from the bottom, go to the top of our rectangular cutout and click, and then you'll see our dimension placed. That should be 3. It's way too far right now. So we'll type a 3 and hit enter. So now we've got our rectangular cutout. It is a good sign when all 4 sides turn black. It means they are locked in place. We're going to finish our sketch. Now we can go back to our extrude tool, click on the square or the rectangle we're cutting out, and then go ahead and cut that material out of the shape. So there we are. We used dimensions to make sure that the object that we built matches our specifications exactly. You can use dimensions in a number of different ways, but the most simple way is the distance from one line to the next. You can also use it to dimension a part or a rectangle shape before you place it or while you are placing it. And that goes for circles as well. So this is a good start for dimensions. Hopefully this builds your understanding, and we will see you next time.